get going. Looks like we have a pretty good crowd as it is, so I'm really pleased to see that. I am from South Florida, New York City originally, as you could probably tell by my tone of voice. And been in the real estate business since 2012. But my primary practice is still and has been financial planning, financial advisory, wealth and estate management, and helping people solve money problems. And this is probably the largest money problem and lifestyle issue problem that we all face, whether it's not, us directly, but it will be someone that we know or love or have a relationship with somewhere down the road. So you can all see my screen, yes? I guess the answer should be yes, right? Let's see. Okay. Thank you.
I don't see you, but I see the screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop my face on here in a second. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, how's that, better? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Do we need to put our credentials in?
No, you don't need anything. There's no CE, there's no compliance.
Perfect.
This is
No
a
big deal.
meeting. This is a very, casual, discussion today on a subject and a topic. And I think you've seen this screen that you're looking at right now that says, in-home care by licensed agency aides for as low as $95 a month. We're going to go through that. I want to try to make this thing happen in about 45 minutes. There is a lot of content. I will say that if you have questions, you should reach out to me separately. There'll be my phone number, email. You can catch me on Workplace if you're with EXP, or you could email me. So I do expect a lot of interest. I've been promoting this on and off for about 7 years, even before I came to EXP with other brokerages, and we'll talk more about how to use this type of program to open up more business selling real estate. But the real opportunity is in helping people, right? It's giving them an opportunity to take care of themselves and do it in a way where no one else is really doing this, especially in the real estate field. I have to be honest. The financial planning field, insurance agents, which I am one of, financial advisors, have known about this for quite a while. But the real estate industry doesn't really seem to attach family marketing very well. They do a great job. We do a great job with transactions and what's in it today and how do we get a lead. But this is more about creating ultimate, integral relationships with families. So with that in mind, if you're serious about this subject and really want to be involved, you will enjoy it and you will learn something. But if you're not, that's okay. You could just, sign off and nobody would be offended. So I just need to say that only because it's not for everyone. So let's move ahead here. You can see in-home care marketing. I don't have to repeat it. Everybody knows that we need to be prepared for our future. Very few people really are. And the idea really here is to help families be prepared for theirs. And how can we do that? Well, you could listen to what I have to say, or we could use statistics. And they prove, what did I do? They prove that families have failed to do the things they need to do. So here's a little background about me. Palm Beach Prosperity Group is the name of my company, the DBA. I've built agencies. I've groomed agents, taught agents in the financial planning space. I've had radio shows. I've been around for about 35 years, with the last 20 here in South Florida. 90% of seniors have not planned for future care. So this is a huge market and a subject matter in and of itself. Now, statistics, right? Don't just take my word for it. You have to take the word of the statisticians who really do nothing but determine how true it is that this is a real problem in our country, actually everywhere in the world. But you can see here, who are the affluent people? And these affluent people are the people who were worried to ask, what are the most important parts of your life that you believe we should be paying attention to help you with? And you can see right here, planning for long-term care is the hot button. It is the number one most dominant discussion that we can have with people, okay? Number two, estate plan, creating one, solving it, how to mitigate taxes, how to transfer your estate, and so on. Number three, and I won't go through them all, you can see tax mitigation, how to retire with the least amount of tax payable to Uncle Sam, and all of that. Interesting here, nowhere in here does it say anything about property. It doesn't say finding the right property to retire in, because really, this really is more important than property. Without the money, property cannot follow, right? Makes sense, right? And so you could go everywhere and you can see articles, they're everywhere on long-term care planning in your state. And you need to know each state is state specific when it comes to long-term care regulations, when it comes to Medicaid planning, Medicaid spend down, and issues like that. So the point is, the research is there, the articles are there. All you need to do is Google it or GPT it. Okay, so let's talk about the probability of needing care. And if you don't think that this is an issue, and I believe a lot of you do already know this, so I'm speaking for you. I know it's redundant to some degree. This is recorded, by the way. People have been asking. You will get a recording if you want one. I'll send it to you. Try to reach out to me, and I will be happy to provide it to you.
The volume on your end, Salvador? Thank you.
I'm sorry here. Could you hear me? Just want to make sure. Is that better? Yes? Can you hear me fine?
Sorry, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's fine. So you can see probability of needing care at age 65. Here you go. At age 70, 75, 80, 85. This is from the American Association of Long-Term Care Insurance. And it's like 1 in 3, 1 in 4, 1 in 2. People that are 90 or over need care more times than not, with the exception of my mom, who happens to be 99 and a half, and she lives independently. But that did not mean that we did not have times where she needed care, either in a facility or at home. And the purpose of today is to really talk about at-home care. Okay, so keep that in mind. We're looking at how to keep people living in the environment they're accustomed to living in and want to live in. And you can see here on the bottom left, in-home care, the choice between 2021 and 23 in pricing, that there is an increase, and there will be a phenomenal increase going forward. So that just means waiting is not going to help anyone. So you could see it here this year. Home health aides, $5,400 a month. I'm sorry, but I have experienced it, and these are real numbers. In 2028, you will see that figure grow to over $6,000. People do not want to live outside of their home. They just do not. They don't want to live in a nursing home. God forbid you say that to anyone. They don't want to live in a facility unless it's the Taj Mahal. They want to stay home, and they want to be cared for by the people that they love, hopefully, or be cared for by staff that really cares for them. And we know that COVID did a real wreck on people's lives. So people don't want to be in this COVID environment. And that was something that really brought this all to further promotion. We need to identify how to keep them there. So here we are again. It's just redundant, $4,500 a month, $5,200 a month, okay? And nursing home, semi-private, $7,900. And I'm sure if you're in this market, if you're SRES, for example, there might be some training on this. There isn't enough. But the nursing home, the private room, I mean, it's $10,000 a month. Who has this kind of money? Okay. So when people usually go in and they go on claim, what we call on claim, 73% of them require and want to be at home. So that's the largest percentage of claim right there. So with that in mind, why fight it? Let's just let them stay home and give them an opportunity to do that. 18% in assisted living, 9% in nursing home. Now, this is coming from long-term care insurance stats, okay? And the claims end, and this is interesting, that the claims that are paid from long-term care insurance, 70% of them, that are in these facilities pass away from, they die in the facility. So they're not dying at home. They're dying in somebody else's house, right? 25% have run out of money in the facility. So it tells you right there, people are living in a facility more times than not, would rather not be there. And even when they're there isn't enough money to keep them there. And then they have to go on Medicaid. And they really don't want to do that, because then we have to spend down assets. We have state regulations. We have a whole host of things that need to be done to make sure that they don't run out of money and transfer that. So about 33% of home care recipients, okay, that are being cared for do recover. Okay, they go off claim, let's say, but then they bounce back on claim again. So it's like a yo-yo. A person can trip and fall, go on care, they need care, and then they recover, and then they get pneumonia. They're 85, and they're back needing care again. Okay. Now, several years ago, and this is for you folks that are looking for a way to talk about this subject matter and become the advocate for in-home care, and to keep people living in the environment that they love, that maybe you sold that home to them, right? Or maybe they're looking to downsize and they want to retire and live for the rest of their life in that type of home that they buy. So this is a flyer that I used successfully, not with the XP because COVID hit, and no one really wanted to go out there and put this flyer out there. But this flyer works. So if you want this flyer, I'll send it to you. But you need to do the work, okay? And I say that only because I offer a lot of different programs that help people like us make money, okay, additional money. But you need to work, you need to do the do, right? So something like this was used by agents in the past that teamed up. For example, they would walk into a retirement community and they would say, hey, I'd like to, introduce everyone in the community to something new that would help them afford the lifestyle that they're living, put more money in their pocket, take care of their health, and do this without breaking their bank. And this is not long-term care insurance. What it is providing peace of mind to seniors and their families by providing them qualified home care that won't allow them to go broke, and giving them 24/7 care coverage from certified home health care aides. And we do this in a particular way. It's not like I do it. There's a company that does it, and we'll introduce you to that. So what kind of assistance can they get? Well, everything that a home health aide would provide: transportation, shopping, cooking, cleaning, hygiene, cleaning them, bathing them. The list goes on. Anything you can imagine, short of giving them prescriptions or giving them an injection, because they're not a nurse. But I would say 75% plus of people that require care, this is what they need. This is what we've seen that they need. And this will give them better care that will keep them living healthier and away from nursing homes and away from needing nurses. Right now, nobody really watches these elderly people. Nobody knows what they're doing. They may have prescriptions, but they may be taking too many of them or not enough. So it's really important to have professional people in there with them monitoring their lifestyle. One of the great things about this program, which we'll get to talk about, is that there's no age limits. Now, if you know anything about long-term care insurance, you'll know that you need to be younger in order to afford it. And that when you get too old, you cannot afford it, or you become too sick, or you take too many prescriptions, or you're disabled, or you're already on claim. In other words, you can't qualify medically. So here, there are no age limits. That means a 100-year-old person could qualify for what you're about to see. There's no medical questions. That's awesome. They could be taking any kinds of medications and they're qualified. There's no doctor referrals, so they cannot be disqualified for that reason. They could live anywhere, which means this is good in all 50 states. And you could offer this yourself with a link. When you see what it is, you like it. And then you could offer this program to your clients, friends, family, and you could just, market it through social media and do everything you possibly can to promote it. So they can live anywhere, they'll be covered. There's no medical exams and there's no financial underwriting. There's no financial questions. Okay, all they need to do is be able to pay something, and we'll show you that in a minute. So this flyer does attract a lot of attention, and people do sign up for this and they become a member of this caregiving program. Here's a card that I produced, by the way. I used Wise Pelican, just so you know. A lot of people have always asked, who do I use? I sent this card out to Century Village residents here in Boca Raton, Florida. I got phone calls, I get phone calls. Some led to this, okay? I make money through this, and you will too, and I'll show you that. But it also allows me to dig deeper into that family and find out who their family is, what they're all about, what is their financial situation? How are they living now? Are they thinking about moving? So can you see how this would be beneficial to us in this real estate marketplace? So here's a card I created. You could see it. You could create one just like this. Now, you don't have to take my word for it either, okay? There is a woman by the name of Marion Summers who endorsed this program, which is called True Freedom, across the country. She's the perennial geriatric expert, interviewed on all the TV shows.
Dr. Marion joined us.
And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but this video is available.
Dressing, bathing, and
You could
clothing.
share it. And so she really does a great job for us. So it's national
In
recognition.
coordination with your long-term.
Here's another card I produced right here. I called it Enjoy Smart Living with In-Home Assistance for a fraction of the cost. Down here, you could see below, it's as little as $95 a month. That's the front of the card. Here's the back of the card. And I say this because this is what has to be done. Whether it's done through technology or whether you mail it to people to their homes, which I believe this is where we receive the biggest return for us. This is what we should be doing, and this is what does work. Here's another card I created. Keep yourself standing. Get the quality care you deserve in your home for $95 a month. And this is the flip side. On the flip side, I put a QR code, and that QR code goes to a video, which is like a cartoon drawing right here, that you can also have and brand to you with your name, your company name on it. It's about 3 minutes, a little less, but it explains everything in detail. Okay. If you have questions or anything you want to say, type it into the chat because I'm keeping my eye on it. Okay, so what is this? What is this magical thing we're talking about here? Well, it's True Freedom Home Care Plans. And it's from a company called American Senior Services Incorporated, and they started in the early 2000s. And the founders were in the area and the space that I am in. They're in the insurance, long-term care planning space, wealth management, and so on. And they created this company that forms alliances with agencies all across the country. And those agencies do the performance. They go visit with the person who calls in for service. Yeah, I'll send the video to you, so no problem, Shelley. So here you go again, a repeat, 70% of seniors will require some type of care in their lifetime. People don't realize, like, what's the number one reason people need care in their home? And it is interesting. It's from trip and fall accidents, really, more than anything else. That is the number one reason why people need care as they start to age. They fall down, they break their hip. I just had 2 hips replaced, right, Tony? Tony, my friend, is on here. He knows. 2 hips replaced, and I had a foot taken out of my colon. So did I need care? Absolutely. Okay. So that is pretty interesting. Some people think it's dementia or it's cancer, but it's something as simple as that. And you could even add car accidents to this. So what would happen if you or someone you knew suddenly needed assistance with any of these items? Where would you go? Who would you call? It's too late to call an insurance agent to get insurance. That's too late. So what do you do? Okay. Now, who would be able to clear their schedule for you? Who would be able to all of a sudden stop everything they're doing to potentially provide someone with 24-hour care? I mean, that's almost impossible, right? You'd almost have to pay someone to do that. And by the way, the good news here, they would be paid when they do this. The friends would. So the question again, is this what people want for themselves, strolling down the hallway, looking at strangers, or would they rather be at home? I think it's just clear. We know that. It's even better when we already know and we have engagements with and contracts with the leading home health care agencies across the country. These are just some of them. By the way, there are people who have said, well, I'm in Podunk, Iowa, or somewhere. I mean, like, what agency is near me? So what happens is, in that case, is that we reach, not me, but the company does, reaches out to that agency and sets them up. Do you think that agency would like this? Absolutely. It's business for them. They're not discounting anything to True Freedom. They're still charging what they charge. The aide still gets paid what they normally get, whatever that rate is. But True Freedom has reserves in place that will help pay for all the service to be provided to the individual. So if you chose a home, that you've come to the right place. And this is what people just never saw before. Again, no medical underwriting, no age limits, available in any state. There's all types of services that the person can have for themselves. It's called a field issue contract. What that means, it's a very simple 1 page, a few lines with an explanation of what it's going to cost them. And basically that's it. There's no other questions. We don't care about what they earn. We don't care about anything. There is only one elimination question, and I'll share that with you. Okay, so this is very simple, right? Very simple. There's nothing complicated. You don't need a license, and I left that part out. There's no licensure here needed to help people do the right things in their life. So it's not a conflict, okay? And I'll answer the question about how long the person has to be a member, but there's no conflict here with any industry you're in. So it's a great side hustle. I don't like that word, but that's what it can be. Okay, so here are some of the reasons. Secure future peace of mind today for you and your family. Institutional care is delayed, which keeps them out of a nursing home, keeps them out of a facility, which is what people want. And they can recover in the care, comfort of their own home. Also, their family and friends now are not burdened to have to step in. I mean, it's horrible. I've experienced it. Many of you probably have too. So this is the only real affordable solution to provide real cost and real care. And everybody is one health episode away from never being able to live independently. So it's important to secure this protection. Again, a summary, I'm not going to go through it all, but it's practically everything that you can imagine, from companionship to taking them to doctors, to taking them to parties, take them to lunch, clean them, bathe them, name it all, with the exception of becoming a nurse, right? You all get that. Now, there are two choices of providing home care services. And this is where we're going to get technical. I'm going to do the best I can to explain it rapidly. Okay, if you miss it, you miss it. Call me up. I'll get into detail. There's agency hours that this person can choose. It's a non-medical home care agency that's licensed and bonded. Okay, that will provide care for them up to 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. And this is standard throughout the industry. You should know. Monday through Friday between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Okay. And that agency will come in, service them, assist them with meals, preparation, grocery shop, blah, blah, blah. There you go. Toileting, you see it there. The second option, and it's an option to use, they could use both. They could use the agency option, or they could choose anytime hours. Anytime hours gives them the freedom to choose to be cared for by a trusted friend or a neighbor, someone not living in the same home and not a relative, to provide essential care assistance for them anytime. Okay? So it's available anytime, as it says, during the week, on weekends, including overnight 24/7 living care. Now, when a friend or a neighbor is used, and a lot of people like that because they've been using Jane, and Jane is coming over all the time, and she's so wonderful. She sits with me. We watch The Notebook together and cry for the 10th time. You know, now Jane could be compensated legally, fairly, okay? Which was never able, and now that person feels good about it because they don't want to feel obligated to have their friend coming over taking care of them. So now they can give them something for it and pay them. This is a first in the industry. So this is talking about anytime hours. We just mentioned that. Let's go to the next one. It's really easy to use this service. The person just picks up the phone, calls the company and says, or so, one of their surrogates or a guardian or the family member can call in for the person and say, hey, we need somebody to get here tomorrow. Okay, the track record has been usually within 24 hours, we're successful at getting that person the care that they need. Okay, there's no reporting, there's no doctor calls. One call will take care of everything. So I'm going to move on and talk about how these hours are divided. So what's happening here, unlike long-term care insurance, long-term care insurance, as you may know, what you're doing is you're buying in advance an amount of money. You're buying a pot of money, and that money is meant to last you for however long it may be needed. No one knows how long that will be. And the days of providing unlimited lifetime benefits and long-term care policies have long been over. The maximums we see are 10 years of a benefit period, but you still buy a pot of money and you hope you don't exhaust it. Here, what you're doing, instead of buying a pot of money, you're buying a pot of time. It's very interesting. You're buying hours. So in this case, you're looking at a gold plan, and there are 4 levels. There's a bronze, silver, platinum, and gold. And this gold plan provides bundles of hours. So this person is buying 6,000 lifetime care hours, in-home care hours. And it's bundled into 10 bundles of 600 hours each. This is going to help answer the question someone said about how long does a person have to wait to get enrolled. The enrollment is immediate. Okay, there is no waiting period, unlike long-term care insurance or any kind of an elimination period, as you may have heard of. or a waiting period, which can be 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, whatever. Here it's instantaneous. A person can actually sign up here and with good intentions, never really needing care, okay, and I'll get into that a little with you, but all of a sudden get into a severe car accident and the next day require care, right? That's very possible. So I just answered that this is not only for old people, this is for everyone or anyone, because a 35-year-old can get into a severe car accident and maybe need rehabilitation at home, right? And need care at home. So let's just keep that in mind as we go through. Regardless of which point in time a member accessed the service, they would begin utilizing the hours in the initial bundle and could do so as quickly or slowly as desired. I'll explain it. So you have 10 bundles, 600 hours in bundle 1. You start tomorrow. You start using up your hours from that first bundle or bucket. That's all that really means. There's a 90-day waiting period. I'm giving you a lot of information here, but better to give you more than less. At least you can judge for yourself here. After that first bundle of 600 hours of care is used up, there will be a 90-day waiting period known as a rejuvenation period. And what we like to say is we like to call that get involved. We like to call that the family to get involved during that 90-day period between the time of exhausting their first bundle of hours and entering the next 600 hours. And it's really important to do that because that will help offset and keep the reserves of this company intact because that's how it's been set actuarially. And so it's important to have that. It's also important to have family or other members step in and just keep an eye on what's going on during that time period. So really, this 90-day rejuvenation period, this is an excellent thing to have in here. If it didn't have this, nothing would work. So keep that in mind. So again, after that 90th day, if that person still needs care, they will enter that second bucket of 600 hours. And that's what you see here. And that will continue, that cycle will continue until all 6,000 hours have been used up. So let me see here, there's been some questions. Would an elderly person be able to participate in this program even though they live with a child who would be unable to care for them? Absolutely, the answer is yes. Is that program available to senior moving into Mexico? No. How long does a person have to be a member before they access the services? Immediately, with one exception, and I guess I should answer that. Is this available for people with dementia? No. Well, is it dementia that people know about? Is it dementia that we're just thinking someone has? Or has it been really diagnosed? I think that's kind of what I would want to know. Let's see. Okay, so those are some of the questions that came in. Okay, so we went through this period. We talked about this rejuvenation period. If you know anything about seniors with health insurance, you'll realize, or prescription drug insurance particularly, that they're familiar with what's called a donut hole, right? That's when the plan stops, the health insurance prescription drug coverage stops paying, and then they have to be out of pocket for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever that is in that plan. So we could look at this as the donut hole, and when we speak about that to elderly people, they get it. It's not a problem. They oh, I understand, right? And they do. So that's a little bit about the rejuvenation period. Now, there have been questions about what plan, and I haven't showed you all of the plans yet, or the levels, let's say. But the questions are, obviously, there's going to be a level for $95 a month, right? Because that's what I promoted, right? And that's what you would promote too. That's what you should say, because there is, and they can get it, and they should. But they can't start at the $95 a month program at the bronze level and then go up to the gold level. They're not going to be able to do that. But they can start at the gold level or the platinum level or the silver level, and then say, I want to change it and I want to go down to the $95 a month plan, okay? So that's what that means. Now, let's answer the question about who cannot get this plan or this membership or this coverage, okay? The people that cannot are the people that say, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm 85 years old. Look at me. I'm in perfect health. And then tomorrow, they get a phone call, the company gets a call saying, can you send somebody over because I really need help? That's not going to work. Or, okay, well, it will work, but the company's going to identify what the situation is. The company is not going to just go ahead and set this all up when the person really doesn't need care. They've been driving fine, they can drive, they can eat, they can dress, they don't really need care. So we don't want that to happen, right? We need to eliminate that. So as field underwriters here, which is what we do, we ask, okay, what's the situation with your mom? Does she need care now? Yes, she's going to need care now. We really are looking now. She can't do this, she cannot do that. This would not be suitable for them because we need to provide this to people before the time comes. Okay, what's the average age? Did somebody ask that question? I'm not sure. But the average age, I guess you could say it's the premium age there. Somebody's writing on my screen. They're crossing it all out. I guess you don't like it. The average age is 72 here. That seems to be the sweet spot. So again, if there are people who are in the need of care in the near future, and we know it, and you know it, this would not be suitable for them. The company would like to have a 90-day period, if they could, without a person making that phone call, but they call us and they use us as the underwriter to make that call. That's why field underwriting is used, and that's what's meant by field underwriting. It's us who sit and talk to the person and determine whether or not this person is going to be needing care or service in the near future, in the very near future. Now, anything can happen, legitimately. They could be fine today, and they can have a slip and fall. They could be fine today, and a month later, something happens to them that does require care and service to be provided. That's legitimate. That's fine. But for people who already know that there's going to be a care required, it won't work. And the company will reach out to that person or their family to determine the legitimacy of that. Okay, we talked about what type of plan they should choose. It's the one that they can afford, basically, get the most they possibly can. Now, there are some great discounts here, okay? We didn't get into the levels yet, but we will. Whatever level they choose, and if they do not go on care and they do not call for service, their payment is going to decrease by 10% a year for each year for the first 4 years when there has been no home care service utilized. That's a tremendous discount, 40% from the original price. And it will remain at that monthly or annual price forever. So it won't go back up, with one exception, when it will. And that's when they finally do, if ever, call in and say they need to go on claim. And when they do go on claim, call it, or need service, is really what it is, then that original membership price will go back up to the full price. But until then, it will remain at a 40% discount. Now, it also provides built-in inflation protection, because don't forget, if you're buying a program and this service for $95 a month today, and the cost for care today is $25 an hour, 5 years from now, the cost of care is going to be $35 an hour or so, right? So where's the inflation guard here, right? Well, with this program, that $95 a month will still provide the same care, but instead of having to pay $35, they're getting it for $95 a month. Think about the discount here. It's phenomenal. It truly is. So it's built-in inflation protection, built-in inflation guard. If it's $50 an hour, 10 years from now, it's still going to be the same care they're getting, which I think is a pretty cool thing. So This shows how the inflation protection works. That in 2014, it was $20 an hour, but in 2022, it's 30. So now they've received more money in value, but they're paying the same price. Okay, so let's talk about the plans, okay, itself, and the value and the amount. Okay, so there's a platinum plan, and that's the top level plan, a gold, a silver, and a bronze. We talked about the 5%. Well, we didn't. So here's a 5% discount on whatever plan it is that they choose that they'll get. If they pay annual. If they have a spouse or a partner, each will get a 10% discount off of their plan membership. And by the way, that 40% discount is rolled on top of this 10% discount. And if both people apply and become members, they'll receive a 15% discount, which is cool. Okay, so this is kind of what you wanted to look at, and so we'll get into the numbers. Here's a silver plan, a 3,000 lifetime membership hour plan, $175 a month. In year 2, if they don't utilize service, it's $157.50. You can see it reduces by 10% a year. And by year 5, it's $105 a month, and it stays at that price forever unless they call in for service. So the bronze plan is a 1,500 lifetime hour membership bucket of time. Now you could do the math if you want, and you could say, wow, well, 1,500 hours, we divide it by 24 hours, and that's going to be X amount. But you need to understand that nobody really uses in-home care for 24 hours. They don't. You cannot. I mean, realistically, if somebody needs in-home care for 24/7 for 3 months straight, they shouldn't be in their home, right? Agree? They really need more care. So these hours will last for a very long time because it's a spigot. You turn the spigot on, you use up hours, you close it, you turn it on, turn it off. You could say, don't come, I don't need you over the weekend, and so on. Okay, so that's the lifetime 1,500 hour plan, $95 a month. I kid you not. Okay, and then you can see the discounting below. And I wrote it down here. First year it's $90.25 if you don't use it. Second year is $85 a month. The third year is well, if you have a spouse, you get an additional discount, but you get it. So there's discounts applied. And then the silver plan now is a $3,000 pot of time. And this is the most popular. Yeah, if you wanted to know which one it is the $175 a month. It's 3,000 lifetime hours. The discounts still apply. For every year they don't use it, 10% off. And by the 5th year, it's 40% discount, remains at that level. The gold plan offers 6,000 lifetime membership hours. It's $295 a month, $35.40 annual. Okay, and the discounts apply to that. And here's that platinum plan that I spoke about earlier, 10,000 lifetime hours, $475 a month. People do buy this plan, by the way. They do. Who would buy this plan? Who would buy 10,000? A younger person would. A more wealthier person would, that really cares about protecting their assets. Because with this plan in place, it's a great asset protection play as well. And that's a different subject for a different time. Okay. So home care really is true freedom, in my opinion, and I guess you may agree. When you have to start going into a facility, it changes everything. It's more costly. It's more cumbersome. Social services gets involved. There's just a lot going on. Now, let's see, what's next? Okay, that's what I thought. How could you make money from this? And I get this all of the time, not only for this program, but others that I offer. You know, what's in it for me? Well, obviously, if being an SRES is what you wanted to do to reach out to seniors and you wanted to become part of their lives, the money will follow and you will become integral to their life. And that's critical. And that's how you will stay in a relationship and learn everything about that family. Okay, whether it's this way or a different way. But just to say, here's my card, the next time you know someone who's going to buy or sell a house, give them my card. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. We need to find different ways to open doors of conversation, and health insurance is a big one, especially in this market. Now, can you get paid? The answer is yes. And you would, because the plan provides a 40% commission paid to you. Okay? So it provides a 40% commission paid from the plan membership amount, which is huge. Now, in addition to the 40%, it provides a residual renewal stream. And I get that all the time. Okay. Real estate doesn't provide a residual. I've been in the insurance space for 33 years, 35. Okay. Anyway. And so I'm very familiar with residual income, getting checks, deposited, half the time I don't know where they came from. So, and I thank God for that. Real estate for me is quite different. I'm speaking very candidly. We do a lot of work in real estate. Quite frankly, sometimes I don't want to do it. So I pick and choose whether it's worth my time. But there is no renewal income. We're always on the hunt, right? So doesn't it make sense to put something in place where you have something coming in and you can make a $50,000 lifetime income? I kid you not. Every year, if you do this plan, in other words, if you offer this plan, if you find two a month, 2 members a month, okay, will provide you with about a $50,000 income after the 5th year. And I have statistics and I have programming for it, and I can even share this with whoever wants it. But this is how it works. I'm not going to go through it, but if you find 2 a month, and I'm putting my little cursor around the 2 here, 2 every month for various plans. If you just chose one of the plans, doesn't matter. Your pricing will be less, you'll make less money, but year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and on the bottom, you'll see a gross income that came in of 187,000. You can also set up a team. You can get team override, and you can get renewals on that team as well. Now, it is not MLM, so I want to answer that question if that was to come up. This is not an MLM company. I could teach, and I do share how to set something like this up if you're interested and you have team participants. But yes, you can earn, in this case, it's a $34,498 income based on some hypotheticals of doing 2 members a month. Now, how do you get 2 members a month? Okay, well, there are many ways. But the biggest way and the most efficient way is to use that flyer that we talked about earlier in combination with those postcards, or just the flyer, and get out there and visit with them in a community setting. Now, you may not be able to do this presentation. You may not live local to me, where I am not able to help you do it. But team up with people, and I'll give you ideas on who you can team up with that can talk about this subject matter. And you, as being the realtor, thanks to you, who cares about their lifestyle for planning purposes, to make sure that they can still afford their $800 a month HOA payment, okay? And that you care about where they live. That's what you do. You team up with another professional, either a financial advisor, CPA, could be an attorney, could be another realtor. It just is the best way to do it. Have a sign-up page and then answer questions and then get them to enroll, and they enroll. So that's coming to an end of my presentation. It's about 50 minutes. There's my information. I'm going to open it up. We have about 10 minutes. We could take some calls here. I'll open up the, or you can unmute yourself actually. But here's my phone number. You can give me a call. Here's my email address. And I'm happy to share more. And if it's for you, great. If it's not for you, I get it. That's fine. So go ahead. Anyone who has questions, I'm happy to answer it.
Hi, it's Karen. How are you? Thanks for the presentation. That was great. So I guess my question is, as a devil's advocate, with how hard it is to find workers nowadays, and I know this because my mother was in assisted living, and I was in charge of hiring her private aides through companies, and it was impossible. So how are these companies providing the quality aids when there's such a shortage of people working?
I cannot answer that question, but we have not seen a shortage problem from our end, or at least True Freedom. American Senior Services has not. Now, and it's their marketing, it's their outreach, okay, that creates the relationship and finds more of these care professionals to provide the service, right? So I can't answer like the shortage question, but what I can say is that we haven't received any information on a lack of finding, care professionals for people, because this company does that marketing and strikes those relationships. So beyond that, honestly, Karen, I cannot answer. It's a good question though.
Thank you.
Well, I have a question. So how is these plans compared to long-term insurance care?
Well, I don't know how much time you have, but I've sold long-term care insurance. I'm in the business 35 years. I haven't written a long-term care, strictly a long-term traditional policy. I can't even remember. I'm still licensed. I still take my CE for it. A long-term care policy is, first of all, it's a long-term care policy is extremely expensive for a 60-year-old, 70-year-old. Okay? I've done $10,000 a year premiums. I've done $15,000 a year premiums. Okay. If you don't use it, you get nothing back for that money. Number one. Number two, with long-term care insurance, the premiums increase. Okay. Companies have gone out of business, almost all of them, with the exception of maybe 6 or 7. So they underpriced the product. I can get into that whole story, but big differences. You have to qualify medically for long-term care insurance. You have to not be taking these prescriptions and such. You have to be healthy. Okay. You have to be able to afford it. So, and then the price goes up. So a person that paid $5,000 a year, 8 years later is paying $9,000 a year, or they'll have to reduce their benefit period and the pot of money and have a choice and make that decision. So they started with a pot of money of $250,000, and now they have to reduce it to $75,000 because that's all they can afford. Unfortunately, bad situation. There's better ways to handle long-term care. This is one of them for in-home service. And there's better ways to handle it when not being able to perform 2 activities of daily living, which is a triggering event for long-term care. There are other plans to do so. Did that help?
Yeah. So I know you mentioned the $95 a month. I know you mentioned that kind of frequently. So I guess what I'm interpreting, that would be you from your experience, you were saying that would be a better plan for someone who's in need for those particular I guess services.
All right. The reason why $95 a month strikes with people is because it's $95 a month. Okay. And so with that, you have opportunity now to move forward in conversation. If you tell someone it's $475 a month, you have a lot of work to do. You could do it, just have a lot of work to do to explain it, right? To justify it. So that's number one. Just the pricing alone is a big factor to move forward. The second part is that $95 a month isn't like, a lot of money today, right? So people can afford $95 a month. And so it's easy to get them started. But once you explain and you have a little insight into the family and their age, and their affordability and what's appropriate for them, you and they may agree and say, hey, $95, I mean, you know, you really have more time on ahead of you, a lot more time ahead of you, and you may be better off with the next level. Now, don't forget, if you start at the next level up, you can always go back to the $95 plan. But you cannot go the other way around.
Thank you.
Well,
This is James. How do you, I guess I'm trying to figure out, how do you get people to sign up? Um,
That's okay. How?
no,
Get a link.
no, I'm not trying to be,
No, no.
funny or difficult to me. Because the thing is, if I was to have the ability to market this program to thousands of people.
You get a link. You have your own,
Okay.
you'll have your own dedicated exclusive link. You'll get access to marketing pages, videos, a lot more than you see here today. You'll become
Okay.
you'll become an associate. You know, you use it the way you want or never use it. There's nobody over your head saying, you know, you didn't meet quota. You can do what you want. You can become as creative as you want. So the link is something that they could use to sign up right there on their own computer themselves, digitally, and it gets credited to you. So you're coded in the system. I think that's what you were asking.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know that I just want to make sure I understand about the sign up, because there's so many gurus out here trying to separate you from your money. So I just want to make sure I was understanding what you were
Yeah,
saying.
here's how this works. I'm used to being in a regulated industry. I've never worked in an unregulated industry. Real estate to me is unregulated. It is, but to me it's unregulated by comparison to the financial insurance side for many reasons. So this is not an insurance product, number one. So you need to keep that in mind and realize that you cannot call this insurance because it isn't, number one. Number two, the subjects will come up about long-term care insurance, and they may say they have or they do not have. This is not meant to replace long-term care insurance. However, it requires a conversation with a professional like myself to best determine whether or not a replacement might be advised, but I would recommend not as a default. Okay. So that's important. The compensation is taken care of from American Senior Services, Inc. They have everyone in their system and platform. You're paid by them. You're not paid by me. Okay. So you're paid direct. You get a 1099. Every year when the person's annual enrollment period comes up, by the way, you should know, people keep these plans in place. They keep long-term care. They just keep paying them forever. Life insurance, not so much. Well, they do. But long-term care and health plans, huge retention, the highest in the industry, which means they keep paying it. Now, if they don't pay, let's say it's, May 1st, they enrolled last year. May 1st is rolling up now, coming up, right? And you find out, because we'll notify you, you'll know whether they pay, because you'll get paid. And if you don't get paid, they didn't. Okay. You want to know why they didn't. But better than that, you want to be in touch with the family. You see, every year you need to be in touch with your family. This gives you the excuse, I'll call it excuse, to stay with your family, to stay with your client. One of the things that real estate never did is teach people how to do that. In the financial business, we get statements every year on their investments, on their accounts, right? So I get notified every year. I see what's going on. It gives me a reason to connect with them and talk about their performance. Does the real estate industry have any statement that comes out that says, hey, this is the performance of your house, I need to visit with you again for any reason? No, but this is a great way to do it. I know it's a little overboard on that, but maybe you know what I mean. So the The compliance is there, the accounting is there. You get your own link to share, you get branded video. When you do your first member, the company will set up your own branding on that cartoon video I showed you.
Right.
And then you get to share other videos. It's a simple process. It's really a one-page enrollment. Very simple. And the only real knockout question is, it's not money, it's not health, it's not age, it's none of that. The only knockout question that would prevent this from happening for them is, do you think or plan on needing to make a phone call for care within the first 90 days? Is that likely? Okay. And some people get away with it. Some people say it's, I don't plan to use it. And then 3 weeks later or a month later, they really do. So this cannot be really pushed in that manner. We really got to get to people ahead of time, right? Because it's kind of too late if you waited that long.
Right now, what is the process again for signing up?
Well, I didn't go over the process to sign up to get you involved, but it's very, very simple. I send you, well, first of all, I notify the company who you are. They get your name, they get your email address, they get your phone number. You get an email from them directly. Scott
Okay.
Gross. Scott Gross is the senior marketing division manager. And then he will send you what you need to complete. And you'll be in my team, basically, is how that works. And yes, I do get a very, very smidgen piece on business, not a lot. It doesn't come from me,
Okay.
it comes from them.
Well, so in order for them to obtain our contact information, is that based on when we sign up for this class,
No,
or we put something in the comment section?
no, you basically tell me, Sal, I'm interested in learning more, becoming an associate, because I think I could do something with this for myself and clients, friends, family, perform a better living for myself somehow from this. And then all I do is I tell them who you are, and then they take it from there and you become an associate in this program.
All right,
And
so let's make it official.
and then I help you with some marketing strategies, right?
Okay,
I'm behind the
Sal,
scenes to
I'm
help.
interested.
Yeah, I'm behind the scenes to help you with a lot of technical things, right? A lot of industry answers, a lot of financial experience. That's why I'm here.
Who backs up this company? So if somebody's paying all this money for 5 years, who, FDIC backs a bank, is it an insurance company?
I see backs anything up anymore because they don't back us up. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, they
so-
backed everybody else up,
okay,
but
so, yeah, we can go down this rabbit hole if you want. I'm fine with it. But the only thing we could say is we need to look at the accounting and the records of the company, and we need to look at their financials, and we need to look at their track record. Outside of that, is the government going to come in and bail out this company? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Is the government going to come? I really don't think that's going to happen. But
how long have they been in business?
I think since 2003, my memory is skipping me right now, but you can look them up and we can provide you with all of their information. And it's your decision. It's your judgment on that. But they've been doing this for a very long time. I mean, not decades, right? Not many decades, certainly not centuries like an insurance company has. Okay. But, I've seen it used. I've used it. I have one. My mom has one. Realtors, insurance agents have them and use them and supply them. It's another opportunity to get into the house. Who backs up?
Hi.
Wait, I'm going to give you an answer to that. So you sell a house for $500,000.
Okay.
Right? 8 years, it's worth 175, or they lose their job. They can't make the payments. They have to go into a short sale. Who's backing up that person? There you go. It's the same thing. Next question. I heard somebody else.
Hi, sorry. Can you hear me? My name is Jessie Grace. I'm calling from Hawaii.
Jesse, yes, I see you.
Hi. So I'm a licensed Medicare health plan provider. I'm also a licensed realtor.
Go on.
No. This is amazing because they can't afford long-term care insurance. It's way too expensive.
Yes.
and there's a huge need for that in Hawaii. Do they have nurses here in Hawaii?
I think so. I'll check on Hawaii. I believe so. Yep.
Okay, because I'm
But
out right now.
getting back to
Go
this
ahead.
Medicare situation, because I'm a Medicare, agent as well, so I'm, licensed, certified and all of that. And so, that's a completely different animal, that whole discussion. But anyway, glad to meet you, Jesse. Yeah.
Hey, Sal.
So you, okay.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I really gotta go. I got another meeting.
No
Would
problem.
you, I put my information in the comment section. Is anything else I need to do?
Well, let's see, you put your information in the chat.
James.hooker@exprealty.com.
So, yeah, I mean, what I would do is can you take a screenshot or you're on your phone?
No, I have a laptop. I have your contact information.
Yeah, so reach out to me if you're from EXP, reach out to me on Workplace. And I'll look for you as well, okay? If you're
Okay,
not,
all
if
right.
you're not on EXP, because I don't know who's really sitting in here today. I mean, I think it's mostly EXP, but it might not be. Just take a photo of this page and just keep my email address on my phone and just send me.
Right, I have your contact information.
I'm not that sophisticated. I ran out of time to set up
All right, baby.
a survey at the end and all of that, but next time.
Is
Okay.
there a cost for us to sign up?
Great question. I forgot. The answer is no. No, this is free, man.
Very
I'm
good.
sorry, I get excited because this is free crap. Now I have Tony listening to me. Tony, I'm sorry, but this doesn't cost a penny for you. It does cost something. I said it earlier. You've got to do. If you don't do, and you just I'm involved in different spaces, okay? I provide ways for people to market and grow their business and blah, blah, blah. And they want to spend money, the agent. I don't care if it's a realtor or not, but they want to spend money and they'll enroll for $500 a month towards something.
Mhm.
And if they don't see instant gratification, and if they don't see pushing a button on their computer, give them the response they need, they bail out. This is not that type of a program. You've got to do a little bit of work here. You've got to position yourself here. And this will be phenomenal if you do. And people do it, and they're making a phenomenal amount of money from this, and also blending the other work that they do in with it.
You previously mentioned something about a disqualifying. Was that the dementia? Is that the disqualifier?
Yes, because if they have dementia, they require care. I mean, they just require somebody to be there. And so that's going to be the only knockout. The knockout question is somebody is home, okay? And the family recognizes, and they may recognize, I need somebody to come in here 1 day a week, 5 hours a day, 3 days a week. It's not going to work. It has to be that right now, as I sit with you, we're sitting together, we're doing a Zoom. Okay, it could be anywhere in the country. You're attesting, attestation, testing here that you're okay. You're not going to require care, in-home care, companionship, whatever. And if you do call the company and say, hey, set up somebody to come see me, they're going to ask you, gee, that's pretty quick. Did you get this with the intention of needing it right away? Because they need to protect themselves from paying out too quickly. This is a huge piece here. This is not a small plan. This is shared across financial institutions, companies and have heard of. They use this program as a marketing resource. So it's shared across the country. And so there needs to be reserves put in place.
So Sal, I had a question here. In looking at it for the potential senior that or the family that would utilize these services, the best candidate, because what I'm concerned about is that you have to start off at a tier, the highest tier, that would be conducive or best for the family, because that you can always scale down, but if you start off too low, you can never go up.
Yeah, and it takes a judgment call, really. You know, it's like, how much can you really afford, really, here?
Mm.
You know, don't shoot yourself in the foot. If you can only afford $95 a month, let's do it. But if you really can do $145 a month and you get that discount, 10% a year, and you have a partner and they do it, that's an additional 5%. And the both of you get 10% discount and you never use it. I mean, it's not any longer $145 a month, is it? It's like 105 or something. So it makes sense to try to get the most you possibly can. And that's no different than long-term care insurance. I mean, I've seen many people who have long-term care insurance and they bought such a weak plan, such a minimal amount. It's almost worthless. I mean, they ran out of money. You know, they have a 2-year benefit period and, you know, they exhausted it and they're 65 or 70 years old and wow, that sucked. So yeah, the best thing to do is to always come in with the best you possibly can. And you guys, like myself, should know the terminology is what? Your highest and best, right? I mean, right? So it's kind of the same there. And it's no problem. If it's too much, lower it. But damn, or darn, sorry, whatever, if they stop paying, that gives you a great opportunity to get in touch with them again and say, hey, I'm coming over to pay you a visit. Okay. Oh, you were thinking of moving? I'm glad I'm here. Gee whiz. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So a lot of people saying you like sign up, you like sign up, you like sign up. I'm not this technical guru here. I think what you need to do is just take my information and contact me, and then we can go from there. Anybody else have a question? I think it's 1:13.
Yes,
I'm here. I'm okay if you want to stay.
I just want to piggyback on the Medicare side. So I know on the Medicare, they have some benefit in regards to in-home care. Did that give you any problem and how did you
No.
rebuttal those?
No, this is a supplement. This is not integrated within anything else. In other words, you can have long-term care insurance. This is an add-on on top of that. You can have health insurance that might provide that you're paying for. This is in addition to that. So there's no elimination here of any money or any time because they have something else.
Thank you.
You
I
can,
have a question about the age limit. What was the 72 year?
do
is
you
that-
know anybody that's 100?
I know my neighbor is 90.
Okay, well, I have a neighbor, he's 90, he drives every single day, he qualifies. You could be 100, you could be 110.
What was the 72 years you were talking about?
Oh, the
72.
72 years, people ask like, what's the market? Like what age bracket would be most
I see.
impacted to this?
Okay.
And it's around 72 years old. That's
Okay.
all.
Thank you.
I mean, so look, you could demo and try to find leads and lists and buy lists of people that are 72 and just send them that card. Okay.
Okay.
And you could do it that way. Now, can we promise that's going to happen for you? No, but if you do nothing, nothing's going to happen. That I know for sure.
Okay. Thank you.
How do you make money sharing this? Well, I think I answered that question. By the way, I don't know, like who you know, right? But if you have opportunity to get into a company, that's a completely different marketing strategy. That's enormous because one company with employees, okay, could do a cost share program, perhaps, could, it's just endless. I mean, if they have 150 employees and each employee has his plan in place, boom, that's all I can tell you. If you know what I mean.
Thank you, Sal. I'll be in touch.
Anybody else? Oh, we're all good?
Yeah.
All right. If there aren't any questions, thank you very much. You've been great. And hope to chat with you again sometime.